I asked the most complex AI to evaluate the housing market in Orange County and predict where things could go over the next 10 years based on historical averages and what's going on in the local economy. If you're new to the channel, my name's Ian Phillips. I'm a realtor in Orange County and I love everything housing data as well as talking about what's going on in my local area. So if you like this video, subscribe for more. And we're going to be diving into how this AI evaluates the housing market based on the economy, jobs, income, safety, as well as other factors that determine where home values could go. And we're going to see exactly where it thinks house prices will be 10 years from now. Let's get straight into it. So this program is called Manus, and it is an artificial intelligence that deep dives into data and shows you exactly how it comes up with solutions. So you can see it has a little checklist here that it's going to go through, and we'll look at exactly what points it goes across. You can see it even tells you it encounters a CAPTCHA challenge when trying to access Zillow, so it tries to access an alternative source to gather current Orange County housing market data. So let's see what it actually goes through here. So it's looking at gathering Orange County housing market from Redfin. I guess that doesn't require a CAPTCHA card to go through. And it tells us the median home value is $1.2 million, did a 9.1% year-over-year growth. By the way, I will actually look at the data directly from the MLS so we can see how accurate this is. And then looking at the chart, we could see where the median home value could go based off of this prediction. So getting back into the researching current Orange County housing market conditions with focus on inventory levels and supply metrics. So it is looking at historical averages as well as the current market right now. So it's looking at prediction, focusing on mortgage rate expert predictions for 2025. So it's also establishing where mortgage rates could be headed and how that will impact the housing market. So you can see researching Orange County housing market conditions now with rental market data showing projected increase of 2.2 to 4%. So it's also looking at rents increasing because investors are a big part of the housing market. So it's super interesting to actually see how the gears are rotating in this AI. So now we're into historical housing market trends, searching Orange County historical home prices for the last 20 years. Look at this. So now it's looking at 1975 to 2024. How interesting. Let's see, analyzing historical housing trends in Orange County, California from 2014 to 2023. It is literally just looking at everything, researching demographic factors affecting Orange County housing market, focusing on population projections through 2050. Obviously, a growing population is a huge factor when determining supply and demand for the housing market. Researching demographic factors affecting Orange County's housing market, including population trends showing a slight decline in recent years. Very interesting to see how this will impact future growth. So this checklist is so vast, it's thinking of things not even I would actually consider, which is very interesting. This is just showing how incredible these AI models are becoming. Developing predictive models for Orange County housing prices with baseline projections showing potential growth between 5 and 6% annually. So more of a neutral market. So even this is saying the 15 to 20% appreciation we've seen year over year for the last 3 years is probably not going to happen. Developing predictive models for Orange County with baseline projections showing potential growth of 1.88 to 2.15 million by 2035. Creating comprehensive analysis report, and it's completed the comprehensive analysis for the Orange County housing market with 10-year price predictions based on extensive research of historical trends, current market conditions, and economic factors. It projects that Orange County median home value will likely reach $1.97 million by 2035 with a most likely scenario, which is a 64% increase from current levels. Keep in mind, the housing market typically doubles every 10 years, or at least it has historically done that. So 64% is pretty modest growth considering the historic growth of 100%. So it says most likely scenario is 1.97 million, 5% growth annually. Best case scenario, 2.17 million, which is almost double from where we are at around 1.2. Worst case scenario, 1.91 million, or 4.7% annual growth. Now it does take into account the annual growth, so you might have 1 or 2, maybe 3 years of a slight downtrend, and then you have other years of maybe 10 or 15% growth. That's just how it compounds and averages out over time. Now, I do want to get into a little bit of the details as to how it's projecting this. So let's see. Key findings. Going to be 1.97 million. Despite population decline, this is interesting, despite population decline of negative 0.47% annually and affordability challenges, so it does take into account that Orange County is expensive. It's one of the more pricier markets in California and in the country. The market remains resilient due to limited housing supply, only 2,600 new units annually. That's true, there just isn't really that much land to build homes. And we're seeing in other parts of the country where builders are flooding inventory, existing home sales decline. We are seeing less people buy homes already on the market, places like Florida and Texas, where inventory is skyrocketing. One of the reasons is builders are pumping out so many homes. Strong employment in high-paying sectors, healthcare, technology, and finance, the region's continued desirability. All of these are reasons it believes, despite a declining population, why home values will increase. So we went over the 3 projected scenarios. Key factors influencing future prices include supply constraints, employment strength, interest rate trajectory, demographic shifts, and affordability limitations. So it has also attached reports, which is pretty interesting. Let's see if we can actually make sense of this. So Orange County population versus housing supply, 2010 to 2035. So the blue line is population, and as population has been declining, housing units have increased slightly, so it projects 2,600 new units every single year, which is probably why you're not going to have home values double over the next 10 years, because in a declining population and units being added to the area, it would make sense to have modest growth, and its most likely scenario where the median home value goes to 1.97 million, accounts for all of this. So that is very, very interesting to read, actually. And you can see I didn't prompt it with any biased information. I just said deeply analyze the housing market in Orange County, California, and predict where prices will go in 10 years. Super interesting AI model. I'm probably going to use this a little bit more. If you're interested, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about this deep dive. And we'll go over. This is data directly from the MLS, so you can see it said the median home value is around $1.2 million, which it is, $1.2 million, and it talks about rising inventory. If we look at active listings, inventory has been increasing since the start of the year, 3,100 homes on the market in December, and now 4,600 homes on the market at the time I'm making this video. So that is super interesting to see. Now, months supply of inventory, a key metric that you need to look out for in your local market. It determines buyer demand relative to number of homes available for sale. It's probably the only metric. If you're going to look at one, look at months supply of inventory. Something interesting to note, under 3 months of supply is considered a seller's market, 4 to 6 months is considered a neutral market, and 6 months or more is considered a buyer's market. We are having a few cities in Orange County actually hit that buyer's market territory, while others are in an extremely hot seller's market. So the housing market, as always, very, very location dependent. But that's kind of it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I thought it was very interesting to have this AI model do a deep dive into the market without any biased information, without any other outside sources. I just wanted it to analyze what was going on in the local housing market and give me an idea of where home values could go based on an enormous amount of factors. It came to the conclusion that house prices are going to appreciate around 5% year over year for the next 10 years, which is a normal market. And that's kind of what my expectations have been, that we're just going to shift back toward a neutral market, get rid of this 15% appreciation year over year that we've been seeing since 2020. But that's kind of it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're looking for an agent in the area, reach out. I'd love to chat, whether you're buying or selling. We can go over a game plan and see what makes the most sense for you and your situation. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.